Welcome to the Skylar Fiction Show. I'm, of course, Skylar Fiction. I know it's been a bit. I did do a quick little video yesterday or the day before talking smack about Tucker Carlson, as smack should be talked about him, the guy who is blatantly lying about marijuana and all other kinds of topics. But you can check out the video, watch me do some commentary. But more importantly, we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. We are on episode number 5 of this fantastic series, Skylar Fiction Reads the Bible, with, of course, my co-host, Dr. Josh from the Digital Hammurabi show. Dr. Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself, your channel, and then we'll get going into the fun stuff tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Skylar. I love doing these shows, and it's always a lot of fun. And I am Dr. Joshua Bowen from Digital Hammurabi. My wife Megan and I, who is in the back watching, run the channel, and we specialize in the ancient Near East, ancient Mesopotamia. And I have my PhD from Johns Hopkins. She's just about done hers. But I have a master's degree in Old Testament studies, and I minored in Hebrew Bible in my PhD program. So this sort of thing is a lot of fun for me. And you can check us out at Digital Hammurabi on YouTube. And yeah, I'm just always excited to do stuff with Skylar because I feel like we always have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good night. And I was telling Josh off air that I didn't have any good beer on my cruise. It was a wonderful cruise, some good time with the family, chilling in the Caribbean. But I'm glad to be back with some delicious beer and not like crappy Budweiser or Miller Lite or whatever kind of other crappy beers they served on the cruise line. But it was fun. It was a good time. And hopefully I'll be back into the regular of making videos again, having more guests. At least this reading the Bible will be a regular thing. Yeah, what do I have coming up before we jump into this? I think it's November 11th or 12th. I have Mike Winger coming onto my channel. Digital Hammurabi will be sitting in on that one also. We may be talking about Bible prophecy, a couple other things. I have somebody else that I've got to get in contact through Twitter that I keep forgetting her name every time. S.J. Thomason is going to be coming on here to do a conversation. And we'll see where things go. Maybe another political hour or something like that. But we have left you guys off on we are going to start off, is what I should say, on a very good and exciting chapter of our Lord's Word. So that's not really true. It's not our Lord's Word. That's some written by people thousands of years ago that we don't know anything really much about. But tonight, we are going to go jumping right in to Genesis 19. And any of you out in the audience, I don't know if you can guess what this chapter is. It's the Sodom and Gomorrah chapter. Yay! Genocide, angel rape, all kinds of fun things happen in this chapter. Or attempted angel rape, I should say. Shouldn't actually happen. You know, Lot offered his daughters instead of the angels. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I'm glad you guys are here watching on whatever night this is, Thursday night. So, all right, Josh, let's get into this. Genesis 19. The two angels arrived at Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. "My lords," he said, "please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night, and then go on way early in the morning." Well, I think we've learned something, that angels have feet. I think at this point, I think that that's a good lesson. You know, those feet are meant for walking, and I guess if they have wings, they could fly also. But these angels have feet, and they need to be cleansed. So something to keep in mind. Now, of course, they say, "No," they answered. "We will spend the night in the square." But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. It's pretty interesting, right? That you can have that kind of like communication ability, influence, that you can convince angels to do something that they didn't want to. I'm going to give credit, man. Lot's got it. He must have a smooth tongue, get these angels to get going and stay at his house. Okay, so before they had gone to bed, all the men, every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. Every one of the guys, all right. They called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight?" bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them. Like, you've probably heard me say this before, but like, it's kind of funny that the first thing the human beings do in Sodom and Gomorrah is try to rape the angels that come in. Like the men too. It's not just, women trying to rape these angels. It's only the men, young, old, all outside of Lot's house. Like, give me some of that angel sex. I just need it. That man angel sex. Which I guess angels have penises. I'm going to guess. I don't know. Do they have the anatomy of human beings? Do they just? I don't know. I guess they had sex and reproduced and created Nephilim at one point. So I don't know. Josh, what do you think?
Well, I mean,
did they?
Yeah, I mean the Nephilim and well, a lot of debated things there, but of course the Nephilim I think are part of a parenthetical clause there in Genesis 6. I don't think they're the same as the in fact I would say most scholarship doesn't think that they are connected to the sexual activity that was taking place in Genesis 6. I think it's a parenthetical phrase to talk about the time period, but nonetheless, I mean, this here of course is just to try to demonize Sodom in the story, right? I mean, like, it's the whole point is
make them look worse.
It's like talking about the Amalekites, or any of the other, they're the bad guys. They're the awful ones. Look at how wicked they are. But it's one of the things that I find funny when people come onto your channel, theists come onto your channel and argue. They read this rhetoric, because that's what this is rhetoric. It's propaganda. And because if you're going to go in and wipe out people, if you're going to go in and kill people, even if you're just telling the story that you went in, that your ancestors went in and wiped out people, you got to give them a reason. You can't have the North going down to the South in the Civil War without really good reason in Northern stories, right?
Yeah,
of course,
right,
the South, they're all going to be awful people, and in the North, or in Southern stories, the North is going to be, the wicked, the villain in the stories. I mean, but to read that, like, look how awful these nations were around them. I mean, look what the Israelite text says. What else would it say, dumbasses? Anyway, sorry.
No, I think you're right. I think if you're really looking at it in an honest way, that's what's going on. I think they have to demonize the other side, because they are about to just commit genocide. They're about to kill 2 cities, I think. That's a good question for you, actually, from a historical level. Did they believe Sodom and Gomorrah were like sister cities? Were they close by to each other? Is this something same area? Like, were they far apart? I've never looked into that historical. I don't know if we really know that there was a Sodom and Gomorrah city or not.
I don't know, actually. I mean, that's a good archaeological question. I can look into it, but I've never looked into it.
Okay, we'll save that for another day.
One thing that I think we should point out, though, because I don't know if we're saying his name, Brat Towel. I don't know if we're actually saying.
We can say Brat Towel. Go ahead.
But he makes the argument from Genesis 19:4. This is where he makes this connection, saying that homosexuals are pedophiles. Right? It comes from this verse. So the men of the city, and this is how weak this argument is, if one can even call it an argument. The men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house. So the word there is na'ar, which is, it does have the idea from young to old is mina'ar, the ad zaken. So from youth, from the young to the old. But it's a merism, right? It's like saying, I call heaven and earth against you. It's everything, from the very top to the very bottom, from head to foot, or so by saying from young and old, from every quarter, it's just saying everybody. And so arguing that somehow, because the word young is used here, that means that the kids were having sex, homosexual sex, and that the only reason that they would have homosexual sex is if older homosexuals were teaching them to do it. And so that obviously means that every homosexual is a pedophile. I mean, it's like, this is his argument. It's bizarre.
Well, and people have got to think when they're reading these stories too, like, this is a city with lots of people. If everyone was gay, there wouldn't be any reproducing, right? And I think that like little things like that get missed. I think, like, I mean, I guess you could argue they're all bi somehow. Like it's a city full of bi men who like men and women.
Of course, you could just accept that it's an etiological myth.
You could. That would probably be the simplest way to understand the scripture, but that would be way too easy.
Yes.
For Bible believing Christians. All right. Okay, so let's see here. So Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." Now, bear in mind, the only reason Lot is getting saved in the city is because he's the only righteous man in the city. So the guy who would offer his daughters up to be raped by every man in the city, if you take this literally, is the righteous one. Not young children or kids or babies, not righteous. The man who would offer his daughters, his virgin daughters, up to be raped in the angel's place. Should tell you something. I think what this really does is give you an insight to culture and what was going on, and to see how women were literally just objects, property to be given to men as presents or gifts, having no value whatsoever. I would just say out there, and people be like, "Oh, you're making emotional arguments." Like if you've ever had a daughter or a child, you would know how insane this is. Like you would never, at least I think if you were a decent human being, would never offer your daughter up to be raped by a city of men. I think that's, it just shows this keeps you in mind with how barbaric these cultures were back then. That's why they accepted slavery. That's why they did things like cut the tips of their dicks off in order to, actually, what I learned the other day. I should ask you about this, Doc Josh. You probably know more than I do. I thought, probably naively, that the Hebrews were one of the first cultures to do circumcisions, and apparently not even close.
No, I haven't done the research on this, but yeah. I'm pretty sure the Egyptians did this.
Yeah, it's a lot of cultures, and then here we are. Here goes the Jews and the Hebrews of that time stealing from other people's religion. Okay. Like, hey, I'm going to make you unique to my God, our Hebrew God, Yahweh, by stealing a practice of another culture, the Egyptians, and probably other civilizations before the Egyptians. Pretty funny. Okay.
Also, something we should point out is that this is not the only place that this story is seen, right? I mean, you have essentially the same story in Judges 19. If you want, I'll just read it real quick.
Please go ahead.
This is where a priest goes and he has a concubine, and the concubine doesn't like him anymore. Of course, it says that she acted faithlessly and went back home to her parents. And, he goes and he gets her back after some convincing, and they're headed back home, and they stop in this city, and they're sleeping in the open square. And an old man comes by and says, "Peace be with you." This is Judges 19:20. "However, let all your needs be my responsibility. Only do not spend the night in the open square." So he brought him into his house and gave fodder to the donkeys, and they washed their feet and ate and drank. And they were enjoying themselves. And as they were enjoying themselves, suddenly certain men of the city, perverted men, surrounded the house and beat on the door. They spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, "Bring out the man who came to your house, that we may know him." Same phrase, right?
They're just repeating stories. Okay.
But the man, the master of the house, went out to them and said to them, "No, my brethren, I beg you, do not act so wickedly. Seeing that this man has come into my house, do not commit this outrage. Look, here is my virgin daughter and the man's concubine. Let me bring them out now. Humble them." There's your word.
There's your humble.
And let me just make sure it is the same word, which I suspect. Yep, it is same word. And do with them as you please. But to this man, do not such a vile thing. But the men would not heed him. So the man took his concubine and brought her out to them. And they knew her and abused her all night until morning. And when the day began to break, they let her go. Then the woman came as the day was dawning and fell down at the door of the man's house where her master was, till it was light. When her master arose in the morning, verse 27, and opened the doors of the house and went out to go on his way, there was his concubine, fallen at the door of the house with her hands on the threshold. And he said to her, "Get up and let us be going." But there was no answer. So the man lifted her onto the donkey, and the man got up and went to his place. And when he entered his house, he took a knife, laid hold of his concubine, and divided her into 12 pieces, limb by limb, and sent her throughout all the territory of Israel.
What? What? Why?
And guess who the villain in the story is? Not that guy.
Not the guy who cut up the concubine that he gave to get raped. Holy crap! Now is this guy a holy guy? What's the who is this?
He's a Levite, I think.
Holy crap! So this is like a follower of Yahweh, right?
Oh yeah.
Here. And I got to get another beer. This is crazy. All right, let's see. Someone has a question for you, so I'm gonna let you answer this question while I go and get a beer. So someone asked Josh if he agrees with John Dominica Croissant that Jesus' story is just metaphor and not literal afterwards. On that, I'm gonna go get another beer.
Yeah, I'm not actually familiar with that particular person, and of course, in all of these, I'm the first to say that even though I've got seven years of Greek and a master's in theology, and I know the New Testament. I've got a degree in the New Testament. I would not in any way consider myself, to be a New Testament scholar. So take everything that I say in that sense with that caveat. I'm certainly not like a Bart Ehrman or something, somebody that's got their PhD in this. But, I don't know. I don't know where I fall on whether Jesus was a completely mythological thing. I think there are probably a lot of problems with the argument that he was strictly mythological, not an actual human being. Of course, I would not rule that out because I, at this stage, haven't researched it enough to be able to say something like that. But that being said, even if he's not strictly mythological, there's no reason, in my opinion, that we should consider the writings of the Gospels to be these authentic eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life and ministry. I mean, I just think there's just no, in my opinion, no credible reason for doing that. But again, I say that with the caveat that there are people that are far more advanced in New Testament scholarship than I am. So, yeah. Sorry, that probably wasn't a terribly satisfying answer. But Skylar, you didn't have to hear it, so
I didn't.
Okay.
So we're all going to have to live with that answer.
Yeah,
so,
I sat here the whole time you were going. So.
I can only hope that you did. You would add value to this program. Like, why does Josh keep doing that when Skylar walks away? It's so weird.
I was going to wear my Anunnaki beard for the stream, but
I had to trim my beard. I actually fucked it up the other day. I was sitting there trimming it, and I'm like, but I'm debating. I don't know if I want to keep this all. I might go back down. Anyways, let's not talk about my vanity and my beard and my sexiness, and let's talk about Scripture. The reason the good Lord brought us here today.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I decided to try to shave the center of my eyebrows. Mm-hmm. And I went a little too far on this side, and then I corrected. And went a little too far on this side, and ended up with like my eyebrows over here. Stuff you do in high school.
It never ends because once you do it once, then you got to keep shaving until it's gone. All right. So we were just at the point where Lot offered his daughters for rape. This is totally going to get demonetized today. Good luck on this. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you. You know what? I know I'm supposed to just keep reading, but I have another thought. What's up with virginity? Like, what is it like with ancient cultures and being so obsessed with women being virgins, right? Like, I don't understand it. First of all, I don't know. It seems like being with more experienced women would probably be a better thing. I think that's probably not the rationale that they were into back then. I know usually the first time having sex is pretty awkward. It's an awkward, especially guys are usually like, oh. That's about the end of it for the guy. And then the poor woman sits there like disappointed and like, man, that was about 3 pumps. And now I no longer have my virginity.
I mean, not in our cases.
Not,
So
I was like
this,
hours. I
you know,
felt
this is
bad.
we've heard,
Yeah.
we understand.
I don't
But
know. I don't, yeah.
that's common.
But like, what I'm trying to figure out is what's the deal with virginity? I don't get it.
I mean, I think when you have a patriarchal society that views women as property, then you want that property to be untainted.
It's like the bow, like it's like the unopened package. You know what it's like? It's like when you get that brand new phone and that's that film on there, and then if the guy at the cell phone store peels that film off for you, like you're just like, what the fuck did you just do? Like I wanted to peel that film off the phone. Yeah, that's terrible. I kind of use an analogy to women having sex, to peeling a film off the phone. All right.
Taking the chastity belt off.
Taking the chastity belt off. You imagine if it was like the thing for the men to be virgins, like they were so focused on men being virgins. Oh man, it's incredible.
A different world.
A whole different world. All right, I'm going to go back to actual reading now. Okay. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof. Yes, the daughters aren't under the protection of his roof. But anyways, get out of our way, they replied. The fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them. They keep bringing pressure on Lot and move forward to break down the door. Now that's interesting because it's alluding to something here that hasn't been spoken of yet in the scripture. Because it's saying that they have come here to play the judge, right? And how would these folks know anything about what these angels are here to do, whether they are angels, anything like that? It makes it appear, once again, probably a literary process to convey a message here. And because they're obviously, and also, all right, if they know they're angels, like I think they're pretty aware in the Bible that angels are pretty tough fucking beings. Like they can wreck some stuff. If you're an angel, I mean, there's angels are sent to destroy human beings at points. They do have a lot more powers than it appears that human beings do. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what when I read it, I'm starting to think, oh, here's hints that this is a story, not literal, as you should take it. Yes. I guess, but they kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. So the angels made them blind. So is that what that's basically saying? That these, yeah, I guess that's it.
I mean, if you're Zechariah Sitchin, what you're saying is that they used their space ray because these were Anunnaki that were using, come in their spaceship. They were using a death ray, or not a death ray, but a blinding ray. Which I guess, that's possible.
It's probably more likely. Listen, the fact that angels, like aliens, could come down, pretend to be like powerful gods, and have some kind of technology that makes people blind, far more realistic than the way this story is outlining it in a literal terms. But I mean, that's a good go-to. You make somebody blind, like they're done. Like, oh fuck, I'm blind. I guess I'm gonna stop trying to rape angels tonight. You got me this time, God. You got me this time. But when my sight comes back, you can't stop my imagination. You can't stop it. All right. The two men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the house anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry of the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." Once again, God passing the buck of destruction on another being and not doing it himself. As I argue many times, like God could just do lights out, everybody. Everyone's dead except for Lot and his family. You guys walk out of here all chill, right? Go hang out with your nephew or cousin. I forgot who it is, Abraham. But he has angels go there, almost get raped, and then has them destroy the city and warn Lot, of course. With the coming dawn, the angel urged Lot, saying, "Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." When he hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city. The Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I will die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it's small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared." So I don't know what's up with this town. Is it just, why is he going to die if he goes in the mountains? Is it health reasons? He's just old or something? He's too afraid he won't make it to the mountains. Is this the town Abraham lives in or something that he's trying
No,
to
I
get
mean,
to?
I would, without looking into it,
Yeah.
I would suspect that mountains are often depicted in ancient Near Eastern texts as places where like hordes live and evil comes out of the mountains, bad people come out of the mountains. So
That makes kind of like mountain people today, like the ones that creep up on the mountain and never come down. And you best not get lost.
it's either that or the abominable snowman. It's one of the two.
All right. Let's see here. All right. He said it very well. Okay. He said to them, "Very well. I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. This is the town was called Zor." Now, you know what's interesting is like, what was he going to destroy Zor also? Like, he's like, "I will not overthrow the town you speak of." Like, I don't know if that was in your plans. I thought it was just Sodom and Gomorrah you're going to destroy. But good on you. Going to save Zor for Lot and his family. By the time Lot reached Zor, the sun had risen over the land, and the Lord had railed down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew the cities and the entire plain, destroying those cities in the cities. Destroying all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's life looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Too bad, Lot's wife. That kind of sucks. Shouldn't have looked back. Now you're a pillar of salt.
Now you're a condiment.
Yeah, now you're a condiment that maybe will be put on somebody's meat one day and eaten because you look back. It seems kind of harsh. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm kind of like, come on now, like you just kind of look back, like, and like, how, you know how hard that would be. Could you imagine? You're like, don't look back, don't look back. Like, that's all your mind would think about is looking back, because now someone told you not to do it. And I don't understand how putting sulfur on a city also makes it, if you look at it, you turn to a pillar of salt.
I mean, like, of course, again, from a literary standpoint, many a sermon has been preached on this passage.
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, it's, I think I said this the last stream, but, Sodom is supposed to be this really wicked place, and Lot chooses it. And he goes down there at first, but then when the angels get there, he's like a judge. He's like a head person at the gate. So he's actually gone into sin enough to be a leader there in that place. And of course, the whole story over and over again, the angels are urging him, get out, get out. They won't leave. And in fact, they stay the whole night. And then they rise up and get out of here. And they hesitate. And so the angels have to actually pull them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, get out of here completely. And he's like, no, they don't want to leave. Let me go to this other little city. And so he's like, all right, fine, go to the other little city. But then she looks back, like that you can't leave your sin is the sermon that you always hear. You're always longing for your sin. And
yeah. And if you look back, that's it. You turn to salt and you're away from God. Or maybe you're just God's salt for dinner. I don't know. He's like, isn't it something about the salt of the earth? I don't remember. All right. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. All right. Lot and his daughters. Verse 30. Lot and his 2 daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains. He just said that he didn't want to go to the mountains. He just said it. And now here we are again, and we're going to the mountains. All right. For he was, all right, settled in the mountain, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. All right. One day, the old daughter said to the younger, "Oh, father, our father is old, and there's no man around here to give us children." I know what's going to happen. To give us children. For some reason, I thought this was Moses that this happened to. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. One day, the older daughter said to his younger, "Our father is old, and there's no man around here to give us children. As is the custom all over earth, let us get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father." Oh, man, lots of incest and debauchery here. That night, they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she laid down or when she got up. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him so we can preserve our family line through our father." So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. This is such bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, 2 nights in a row, like, how shit-faced drunk was this guy that he could sleep with women and he didn't know it and have an erection and orgasm? Like, this is so ridiculous right now. And these girls scheming, like, I need a baby. Don't they live in a city? Like, isn't there a city? How can they not reproduce children here? Didn't it just say they went to stay in Zoar? Are there no men in Zoar that they can get impregnated from? None of this makes any sense, folks. All right. Just no sense at all.
I think it's awesome, just as a side note, that it's 2 Peter 2. I'm reading 2 Peter 2:6. "And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them to destruction, making them an example to those who afterward would live ungodly, and delivered righteous Lot, who was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked."
So someone asked, which was great in the chat, Shane was like, "Where'd they get the wine from?" Probably from some dude they could have impregnated them if they wanted it. It's so weird. The whole thing. I can't wait to see where this goes. Again, he was not aware of it when she got up. Okay, so both of Lot's daughters became pregnant in one shot. It's not that easy, folks. I hate to tell people out there, you're young and naive. It isn't that easy to get somebody pregnant, especially with somehow a one-shot kind of deal where both nights they both got pregnant 2 nights in a row. Like, pretty impressive. I mean, he's shooting some like bullet sperm if he's able to get 2 girls pregnant within 2 days. Pretty impressive. So both Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Benami. He is the father of the Ammonites today. All right, that's good. Now we know where all these cultures come from. All right, so chapter 20. Abraham and Abimelech. I can't pronounce that word. Abimelech, I think is how you say it. Wow, is that where we're going to leave it off? Like, is that how that ends? Like, just with Lot? Like, first we have a city, gets destroyed because of gayness, and then Lot offers his daughter for rape, and then at the end, Lot's tricked their father into getting drunk and sleep with him. This is one hell of a chapter we just read right there. You talk about R rating for the Bible. Oh man, someone should make a realistic version of this story. That would be interesting to watch. Like, just watch that go down. All right. Now Abraham moved there into the region of Negev and lived between Kadesh and Shur. For a while he stayed in Gerar, and the Abraham said of his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." Then Abimelech, king of Gur, sent from Sarah and took her. Did Sarah just get kidnapped again? Is that what just happened here? And
It's a
God
common
can't.
theme.
God, man, isn't this the second time? Didn't she get kidnapped originally? Right? Because she was so beautiful that as soon as she went in, and somehow these people knew who she was, and they kidnapped her. Second time kidnapped. But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said to him, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She is a married woman." Now, Abimelech had gone near her, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'? And did she also say, 'He is my brother'? I have not done this with a clear I have done this with a clear conscience and clean hands." Then the God said to him in his dreams, "Yes, I know you did this with a clear conscience, and so I have kept you from sinning against me. This is why I did not let you touch her."
It's
Now,
interesting.
yeah,
Interesting, isn't it, that in the Old Testament, one can sin and not know it. It's an interesting concept to me.
that's a good point. Yeah, like you can literally sin, like as long as you don't know it, you're all right, I guess.
But here it's not, right? I mean, he's not gonna know it. Like he would have sinned and become, an offender of God's justice, of God's law, and he would have been completely unintentional. He would have known nothing about it.
Wow. And then he would have been good as dead, according to God, because God
Yep.
would have punished him for something he didn't even know. And she lied to him, wasn't it? It said it was her sister. She is my sister. Didn't so? And then Abraham said to his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." Like so, Abraham lied there and
They
claimed
both
that.
did.
Wow. And that's the same thing he did in the other story. Didn't he lie and say it was his sister then too? He said
Yep.
it was somebody else. Dude, what is up with Abraham and all his lying, man? He's always just claiming his wife is his sister instead of being honest. It's pretty incredible. This righteous man of God consistently lying, and then his lies get him caught up in this, because if he hadn't lied and said that this was his wife, well, the first time he thought they would kill him if he had actually said it was his wife, but this time there doesn't seem to be any good reason why he couldn't have just been honest and told them that it was his wife. Okay, that's why I did not let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. Okay. But if you do not return her, you may be sure that you and all who belongs to you will die, because people are property. And the next morning, Abimelech summoned all his officials, and when he told them all what had happened, they were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said, "What have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you have brought such guilt upon my kingdom? You have done things to me that should never be done." And Abimelech said, "Abraham, what was your reason for doing this?" You know what? I think he's justified here. I honestly do. Like, Abraham lied to him. Now he's in trouble with God because, Abraham's lie. And now he's like, "Yo, what's up? Why'd you do this?" Let's see how Abraham responds. Abraham replied, "I said to myself, there's surely no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife." Again, he's afraid he's going to die. Besides, and what a great prophet, right? He really doesn't seem to know shit about what's going to happen, apparently, or who people are. But he's just like, "I knew it. I knew you guys would just kill me." And I'm sure they worship some other kind of God in that place. There's surely no fear of God in this place. They will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not my mother, and she became my wife. Oh, okay. So it's kind of interesting going on there. But half sister, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And when God had me wander from my household, I said to her, "This is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere you go, say of me, he is my brother." Then Abimelech brought sheep and cattle and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, because you know what makes up for everything? Good old-fashioned slavery. Good old-fashioned, Israelite slavery.
Slaves going to the incest couple.
Incest, you know what? We lie about our relationship. And you know what? I'm going to make it up for you. I got these human beings right here. Could be some kid slaves. Yeah, I got some good, healthy child slaves. Maybe they can become your concubines at one point. But make sure you cut off the tips of their dick, because we need to make sure they're circumcised. They got to make sure that they're in with the with the Old Testament, with the the Old Covenant. All right. Okay, we're just talking about land is before you, live wherever you like. To Sarah, he said, I am giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to cover the offense against you before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated. Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Amalek and his wife, his wife and his female slaves, so they could have children again. Oh, so this dude was married? They didn't even mention that part. So I guess he was trying to have children. For the Lord had kept all the women in Amalek's household from conceiving because of Abraham's wife Sarah. Well, that was kind of just brought in there at the last minute to explain things. How long did he have Sarah for? Like this doesn't, God damn it. Like, this drives me nuts. I don't know how anybody as a Christian can read this and think this is literal, right? Like, okay, let's say that he, like, for the time period that they kidnapped Sarah, people weren't having babies. Like, how long did they have Sarah for? How long did it take them to figure out that people couldn't reproduce while they had Sarah captured? This is honestly unbelievable. Like,
and if you got Sarah, you brought her in. What did he just? We expected to think that he just threw her into the rotation. Like, all right, I got my harem.
Like, this will work for me. I'll get this one pregnant somehow, even though I'm not getting anybody else pregnant. It's so beyond unbelievable. And the more I read this, I really don't know how I ever believed any of this shit. You know what it was? Is I didn't read these parts. I probably read it once in a Bible study, when I was reading the Bible straight through, but I didn't really think about it. And looking at it now, wow.
I think it's one of the scary things, honestly, about being in a religion, is that you don't read things. You read things with a very specific critical eye. So, because I read the text a lot, and I read it in the original, and there's this cognitive dissonance, I guess, that you see things, and particularly if you can find any reason at all, even if it's not something that's likely, statistically speaking, to make it okay, you'll still buy into it. You'll still be okay with it, because you think, well, this is an inspired, inerrant text, right, from God. And so you don't notice the things that don't make sense, right? Which is what makes it so frightening, I think.
No, I agree. It's funny. I see this a lot too. I think in politics, this happens also. When you look at like your political ideology, it tends to just be whether you're taught something at a young age, where your parents are Republicans, your parents are Democrats, and then you follow that, right? I think it tends to be that the people I find that you tend to match the same political views as your parents, at least political ideology party-wise. And you get wrapped up in this team mentality. And I think with a religion, it's even probably worse, because this is you're basing everything. It's your whole worldview is based on this, like what happens after you die, how you live your life, how you view the world. It's pretty incredible what you're willing to do to reinforce your own beliefs. It really is truly challenging. And I try to do my best. Like, there's times where I've got to make sure that I take off this team atheist hat and make sure that I'm like, all right, let's try to be as honest about the situation as possible. Try to give charity to certain kinds of views. Be a little bit more generous when people are explaining what they mean, and be a little bit open-minded. But it's difficult when you read this. It's so hard to.
And I think for me anyway, I think the way that I feel like I accomplished that from like an academic perspective, by honestly, and it's frustrating honestly at times, but I engage with definitively disproving something that I disagree with, right? So something that I'm dealing with right now that I don't consider to be worth my time at all. But it's important to other people that that are watching, that are listening. And it's frustrating as hell for me to do it, because I think this is so unbelievably ridiculous. And there's no way that I'm going to convince the people that I'm arguing with, but the people that are watching that want it disproven, they want me to go that extra mile and take that step. So, all right, let's do it. And by doing that, I mean, I think you really do have to engage with, is it even possible that it's true? Because you have to be able to come up with an argument, to come up with a significant argument that says, look, it's just not possible that it's true, or it's so unlikely to be true. So
I just, we had this guy, Island Online News, who's always trolling my channel. Came on once, and that was the only time I ever got him on. Kind of embarrassed him quite a bit when I debated him. And I told him, he's like, you guys don't know how to interpret anything. I'm like, come on in. Like, come in, tell us how. Like, I'm sorry, like, we're just reading it. I'm just reading it out loud. I don't think there's much to misinterpret here, right? Like, and honestly, when you and I do this, like, we tell the audience what's probably being actually articulated here, which is most likely it's some form of storytelling. We don't really believe that God wanted, like, these, like, for instance, I don't think Josh and I share the opinion that really Lot was offering daughters up for rape for angels. Sure. Right? That's not we don't really believe that's what God wanted in the Bible. We're just showing you, if you take it literal, as which you Christians do, a lot of them do, this is what you end up with. You end up having to take this hard interpretation of things, and Scripture doesn't make any sense. It just seems, incoherent. Especially the Old Testament, it's really easy. Most of the time, you're just, it's storytelling. It's a moral story to give you a better understanding about the world around you, what they believe God to be, and things like that. Just crazy shit. All right, anyways. It's just like random stuff, like someone just put, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I'd like beyond my vision, but like, why? Like, why would, like, that's what your contribution is to the chat.
And that's the thing. I mean, so and then we can move on.
No, you're fine.
I think this is important to say. I don't think in any way this hermeneutical approach to the Old Testament text in particular, this that this is all to be understood as literal historical fact, for lack of a better description, is necessary for Christianity, even mainstream Christianity, because, I mean, understanding that this is a group of people in its period, in its time period, with its beliefs and its understandings of the world around it, engaging with what they consider to be the divine, is a perfectly reasonable understanding and interpretation of these texts. And if you do that, you can kind of do, my old sergeant used to say, the old rake and shovel, right? You rake in the good principles that you see and you shovel out all the rest. And I think that's the wise way to come about this. And when you do otherwise, and you take, as you call it, this hardline approach, where you say, I have to see this as the literal, and I use that in the sense of this is historical, scientific history writing, what you end up with is problems with the Old Testament saying that the earth is flat and on pillars with a solid dome over top of it, right? Yes. and what do you do with that, right? And I just don't think it's necessary to be even a Bible-believing Christian. I don't think it's necessary. In fact, I know it's not. So anyway, just
I agree with you.
Encouraging thing to people that want to be theists or that are theists. You don't have to hold to this view. It's not necessary to be a Christian.
Exactly, it's just
right. Not.
And it makes it more difficult for you. I really don't understand it. Like, it's okay just to be like, I believe in God. I believe that there's something better when we die, and I'm going to pray every night and live my life. Have at it. No one's going to knock you for that. It's when you become what I think is the major problem with modern Christianity, is Bible worship is really what it is. The Bible has become more important to your religion than the God you're worshiping. And you would rather spend your time like arguing with atheists about Scripture because you were taught how to interpret it a certain way, and then you end up losing. Because let me tell you, people who, like, what the easiest thing to argue against, and I love doing it, is Calvinism. Like, you just jump on the bullet for me. Like, you literally just willing to say, yeah, God did this. God did this horrible thing, X, all for his all for his glory. Basically, this is what he wanted, and like it makes. I don't even have to try. I just gotta ask you what you believe and just let the audience hear it out of your own mouth, and you sound like a moral monster.
And the scariest part, I think, of all of this is that people that practice this type of Bibleology, or Bibleolatry, I guess is what it would be.
Bibleology? I don't know.
The worship of the Bible.
There we go. Close enough.
As a book itself, is that they tend to be people that don't actually take the time to learn the languages in which the Bible was written.
That's true.
And so you worship a text in that sense that you can't actually read yourself. And as a shameless plug for our channel, if you want to learn to read Biblical Hebrew, we're 2 lessons into a video series on learning to read Biblical Hebrew. So lesson 3 should go up this weekend. So maybe next weekend.
And Digital Hammurabi, Dr. Josh's channel is in the description below. So please click.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are well over 1,000 subscribers now, aren't you? Like
2260.
Crap. You know how long it hit me to take 22,000 subscribers? It's funny because I didn't get 2,000 subscribers until the Matt Powell video came out.
Oh, wow.
That's how literally I was under 2,000. And that video popped me up to like 3,000, 4,000 now. So like it's weird. I've had this struggle with my channel, Josh, and I'll be honest with you, to where like I get way more views than subscribers. So like the videos tend to do pretty well in general. I'm no fucking YouTube star by any means. But like I've had like when I had 1,000 subscribers, I was getting like 1,000 hits on my videos. Like it was doing well. But like I still struggle with that. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, folks, and you want to make me happy, please fucking do it. I need the love. I need the help.
Yeah, definitely do so. I mean, I say that on a lot of the streams that we do. Subscribing to you, the Non Sequitur, Godless Iwin. I mean, like great channels.
People put out good content and like and the thing I think that what I think people have to realize too is with these channels, the way I get good guests on my channel, like people you want to see me debate, is I have to have notoriety. I have to people watching the channels, viewing them, people sharing them. That's how I'm able to get the bigger names that you want to see me destroy, like the Inspiring Philosophy. You should check that out. Anyways,
I really want to see you do another debate with Wolf Bitten, but that's just totally selfish.
He offered to have me back on his channel again, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
Oh man, do it. Just
I might, because I'll just take the video and mirror it on my channel.
Just to hear you say to him again, I don't consider you an authority and someone that's able to teach me about science.
He's a trip.
Yeah.
Wolf Bitten is a trip. All right. What time we at? We got about 20 minutes more because I do got we're just about an hour and a half. All right. Where are we at? We're at the birth of Isaac. Okay. This will be good. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age. At the very time God had promised him, Abraham gave the name Isaac to his son. Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, a poor kid. And God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when he got his son Isaac was born to him. It's better late than never, man. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in old age. Hagar and Ishmael sent away. The child grew and weaned. On the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held the great feast. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had bore to Abraham was mocking. And she said to Abraham, get rid of the slave woman and her son, for the woman's son will never share the inheritance with my son Isaac. Which is interesting because this is the one that she convinced to sleep with Abraham, right? Yep. And now she's kind of like jealous, it seems like, because now she's got her own son with Abraham, and now she's telling him, get rid of him. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. But God said to him, do not be distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I will make the son of the slave into a nation also, because he is your offspring. Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He sent them on her shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. She went off her way and wandered the desert of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went off and sat down about a bow shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the boy die. And she sat there. She began to sob. So basically, Abraham sent him out to die in the desert, is what's going on here? Good Lord, what a sick motherfucker. Well, I got to get one more beer for this, because this is some shady ass shit going on here in the Bible. Abraham, this man of God, like God tells him to listen to his wife. And what does his wife say? Go get rid of the slave and the child, basically. I don't know how old the kid is at this point, but like, obviously it's a kid because she can't even bear to watch him die. And God's plan was like, hey, kill another kid. I just add another one to the book. All right. What can I ask you? Okay. What is your favorite? Oh no, you know what? I'm gonna ask you this while I get a beer. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. Die Hard's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. So Die Hard 1 was my favorite. Die Hard 2, another Christmas movie, I liked less just because the acting was worse, but still a favorite of mine. And then 3, of course, was wasn't that the one where in New York City? I think that was a tremendous movie. Of course, I don't know if I can remember all the rest of them because there's the cyber one with Washington D.C. That was decent. It's funny because Bruce Willis is a favorite of mine, yet I realize he's a terrible actor. Right? I'm sorry if that offends anybody. But he's a favorite actor of mine. But like you watch The Expendables, and again, I love those movies. But we're talking about The Expendables now and how Bruce Willis isn't the best actor in the world, but I still love him.
Was that a yes or no on Die Hard?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Not the best Christmas movie.
No.
But a very, very good Christmas movie. I think arguably could have been one of the best trilogy movies of all time had they stopped at 3. It's tough because there's some trilogies I really like. I'm a big movie guy. And it's tough because I want to say Back to the Future is my favorite trilogy of all time. Damn good movie. But
every time I have a pistachio, I think, you must try pistachio. You must try pistachio. Dude,
I'm telling you. All right, that's going to be my last beer of the night. So when this beer is done, we go off. God, I missed this beer so much when I was on my cruise. I tricked my wife, and it's just the Dogfish Head, a well-hopped IPA brewed with orange peel, lemon fresh. It's the blood orange one. It is
Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, it is so good.
This is the one that Jesus' Lord doesn't like, right?
Probably. He probably doesn't like that kind of flesh and blood. He wants the real deal, the Jesus flesh and blood. I don't know. I don't know, but it's freaking delicious. I don't know if Jesus' Lord drinks, to be honest with you. He may.
I don't know. If he does, he should also try Double Cannon.
Double Cannon. That's a good IPA.
Yeah, by Heavy Seas. Baltimore brew, I think.
They had one IPA on my cruise, and it was Goosehead or something, and it was not that good. It's kind of disappointing. It was so sad. The best beer they had was Blue Moon, but it was just the original Blue Moon, and that was it. So I ended up drinking liquor. They had a mojito bar, which who would have known I liked mojitos? They were actually delicious.
Did you actually do? Did you actually do this?
They did it. I don't think they did. I don't know.
Drink it? Did you have to do this?
No, I'm like, please, one mojito, my friend. It was great because my wife had booked the cruise so much. So literally, we drank all day long, and I got so sick of drinking liquor. Like I can't say that. I have other things that I prefer in life that isn't alcohol, and it was just, I don't know, and I couldn't enjoy those things on a cruise. So what I will say is that I don't know, alcohol like this, I can do a beer when we're talking, joking around on a show, but other than that, in my free time, I don't drink a lot. So I do like it when I'm doing these, especially when I have my good beer. Because after 2 or 3, I got a crazy buzz. I did drink tons of liquor on the cruise before I even started feeling buzz. All right, let's keep doing this. Where are
Verse
we at?
17.
17. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Then God opened his eyes and saw a well of water. So then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin and water gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the desert and became an archer. While he was living in the desert of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from Egypt. All right, so they saved him. God saved the little boy. Even though it's so weird because he just told, listen to Sarah, his wife, that was Sarah's plan to send him out to the desert. Isn't this, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this where people think isn't there people who argue this is the separation of Jews and Arabs basically right here, that that this would be the Arab descension, and then obviously Isaac would be of the Hebrew Jewish descension. That's what I've heard too. And this is why they don't get along, apparently, is because of this. Okay. The Treaty of Beersheba. At the time, Abimelech, and Phicol, the commander of his forces, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do."
Sounds like something that a foreign official would say.
Yeah, and remember before they were like, Abraham was saying this guy doesn't believe in God, so why would he was afraid he's going to kill him? But now he believes in Abraham's God. He did have a dream, to be fair. Now swear to me, but here before God, that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show to me and the country where you now reside as a foreigner the same kindness I have shown to you. Abraham said, "I swear it." The Abraham complained. So, you know what? You may not know the answer to this question. Where are all the Jews at this point? Where are all the, so if Abraham, are they not existing yet? Is Isaac's going to be the descendant of basically all the Jews at some point?
Yeah, so I mean, the tradition is that Abraham comes from Mesopotamia, from Ur, goes to Haran. His father dies there, and then they continue on, and they come to Canaan. And so Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, along with the 12 tribes, and then they go down into Egypt, as we're going to see as we keep reading, and then they grow to 2.5 million people, and then Moses comes and delivers them, and they come up into the land of Canaan, and under Joshua conquer, and that establishes ultimately the judges through the judges, then the united monarchy under Saul and David and Solomon, and then that divides under Solomon's son Rehoboam into the northern and southern monarchies, which actually have good evidence for historically, right? But and then of course the north falls to the north falls to Assyria in 722, and then falls to Babylonia in 586. So,
all right, verse 25. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. But Abimelech said, "I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard about it only today." So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a treaty. Abraham set apart 7 lambs, lambs, 7 ewe lambs from the flock. And Abimelech asked Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set apart by themselves?" He replied, "Accept the 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well." So the place was called Beersheba because the 2 men swore an oath there. After the treaty had been made at Beersheba, Abimelech, Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of Philistines. Abraham planted a tamariska tree in Beersheba, and there he called the name of the Lord, the eternal God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time.
So just so it's clear, I mean, just
Please.
as an example here, these names have literary significance, right? So 𝀭Support is 7 wells.
Oh, okay.
So the 7, yeah. So anyway.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, good stuff. Uh, okay, we'll do this little chapter, then we'll go on. So we're at Genesis 22. Abraham's tested. So sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to Abraham, "Here I am," he replied. And Go said, "Oh, this is it. This is it. This is where we talk about killing his son." He tricks him. All right, this is a good chapter we're going to leave off on. All right, then we'll go after this. So then God said to him, "Take your son, your only son, who you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice there as a burnt offering on a mountain. I will show you." Early the next day, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out of the place God had told him about. So a burnt offering, we're talking about sacrifice, right?
Yes.
That's what it's referring to. You're going to burn an animal. You're going to burn some kind of sacrifice.
Kill it and burn it.
Kill and burn it. Bueno. He took his wife's 2 servants, son Isaac. Then he cut off wood for the burnt offering. He set off for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey, while I and the boy go over there. He will worship, and then we will come back to you."
So people make a whole hell of a lot about this. So we will go, in the Hebrew, we will return to you. So this idea that, of course, in the New Testament talks about this, that Abraham goes knowing that even though he's supposed to kill him, that somehow, because God had promised that through Isaac he'd get, all these descendants, that even if he killed him, God would somehow raise him up, because he says, "We will return to you."
Yes. That it's interesting. Yeah, because I always remember that they said that he would have descendants from Isaac. Okay. Abraham took the wood from the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac.
How fucked up is that?
Like, I'm going to carry
this wood, then I'm going to burn you on.
He himself carried the fire and the knife. As the 2 of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, "Father?" "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and wood are here," Isaac said, "but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?"
It's a secret.
Awkward conversation to have right now. Isaac, you're it. Abraham answered, "God will provide the lamb, the burnt offering, my son." And 2 of them went on together. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham had built an altar, then arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on an altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
So a lot of people make make a lot of this as well. So of course, Abraham's obviously very old and weak, generally speaking, at least compared to Isaac. Isaac could have easily overpowered his father, but allowed himself to be tied up. So I mean, this is like the picture of, Jesus allowing the father to kill him. So
symbolism. So when they read, no, here we go. Here. What
22:11.
22:11. Okay. Oh, but the angel of the Lord called out to him in heaven, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. So who is the angel of the Lord? Is it just always referring to like some angel, like they're all angels of the Lord? Is there a specific angel of the Lord do you think they're always referring to in these?
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's not clear. In my opinion, that's not clear. It's been argued, that this is what will be considered the Logos. This is the pre-incarnate Jesus calling out. The angel of the Lord was pre-incarnate Jesus. I haven't done a detailed study on it myself to be able to say anything with any confidence about who it is, but it's certainly not clear.
Let me ask you this. If you go to my channel, did you ever watch the video where I took videos from a religious movie and redid the Abraham story and put music onto it and stuff?
No.
I'm tempted to play it live right now for the
You
audience
should.
because I don't think a lot of people watched it. And I want to show it some more love. It got hit with so many copyrights because I stole so many things to be able to do it. I'm trying to think what it's called. I've got to find it real quick because if I can find it, we'll play it. It's from a while ago. God, what is the name of it? But basically, what I did was it was a movie talking about Abraham. I added music. I turned it black and white. I did a lot of things to try to not get hit copyrights for it, but I was able to achieve my goal, and it was kind of humorous. But we're gonna see if I can find it. It can't be 3 years old. I must have had it before then, unless I deleted it because I couldn't get it through. Like I had it on there, and then it was taken down. And
While you're looking for it,
yeah, please talk. Yeah, go ahead.
we should at some point. There's a video, 4 videos by a group called Vintage 21 that takes, I think it's the old 70s Jesus movie, and dubs it, and it is unbelievably priceless. The part where Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and they come up and they ask him about if they should pay taxes to Caesar, and and of course, he says, "Whose face? Do you have a coin? Show me a coin. Whose face is on it? Caesar." And he says, "Render unto Caesar's that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's." Well, they dub it, and the Pharisees come up to him and says, Jesus is sitting there with the people, and he says, "Thee before thou, except after thine. Hope you don't think you're going to the dance on Friday." And they come up and they say, "Yeah, we were wondering if we could go to heaven. We know a lot of Bible verses." And he says, "How much money do you have?" So they pull out a coin, and he says, "1 coin. Are you serious?" "Oh, I can get you more." No, you had your chance and you blew it. You'll never get to heaven now.
Oh my God.
Vintage 21. They'll probably get some more hits now. It's excellent.
I'm trying to find where it tells me about monetization, and I cannot. Oh, fuck. I can't remember what the damn. It's sad that I don't remember the name of the video. It would have been on. Oh, I can't. Is there an option? Damn it! I really want to play this. I feel like I've now hyped it up, and this video needs to be played, but I don't. I hope I didn't delete it. I don't think I did. Sometimes if a video won't play at all, I'll just delete it. But like, I don't think it was like 2-3 years old either. I don't think it was that old. Fight the good fight. No. Christopher, wonderful Fallout. These are way back. Damn it! What is the name of that video? I can't kill too much time doing this. I'll drive the audience nuts. The test. Hold on. I do have it. Hold on. Private. Not eligible for mod. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to fucking do it for the shits and giggles of it. We'll leave it with this. Just remember where we're at today. We'll finish this. All right, we'll finish this chapter. I got to unplug. You're going to hear my audio through the speaker. I've got to turn off notifications real quick so nobody sees my personal shit. People try to come in. Let's put disturb on. Do not disturb. All right, audience. Here's what we're going to do. Here it is. I'm going to put this up here. Test. Okay. So this is a video called The Test based on Abraham's story right here. I hope you enjoy it. Let's just pull this out. I'll put this on a different page. Okay, that's good. We're going to share. That's good. We don't need that. That's good. Okay. All right. So you got to kind of keep a little quiet, Josh, when we're doing this because it'll pick up your audio when I'm on speaker. I hope the audience can hear it. Let's screen share. We'll do this. We'll say some final things and we'll get out of here. Screen sharing now. Oh my gosh. It's so fucking, I love Kevin Smith and fucking Happy Jesus. Oh man. That video got no love either, man. Almost nobody watched that shit. But it was funny. Hold on, put the headphones back in so we talk. Oh man. Lord. Go watch the video. You hear what a better audio is. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's probably copyright now with fucking video because that audio. But I had to do so much to try to avoid copyright on there. But anyways, that's the retelling of Abraham. There you go. Anyways, we should just finish this little verse here. We have a couple verses left, and we'll move on to the and then we'll end up ending this. All right. So do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld me from your son, your only son. I don't know how God didn't know that he didn't fear him before, or did fear him. I don't know how God didn't know that, but
this is
doesn't. Yeah,
this is one of the arguments of a theological position called open theism, which says that one of the things that God doesn't know is the future. This is one of the key verses that they go
that's
to.
what they use. Like, okay, yeah. Which, honestly, the more I think about it, it seems like from reading the Bible, God doesn't know the future. I think the more I look at Scripture, it's kind of weird. Sometimes it does argue it, sometimes it doesn't. All right. Okay. Do not blah blah blah. Abraham looked up in the thicket. He saw a ram caught by horns. He went over there, took the ram, sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the place, the Lord will provide. And then to this day, it is said, on the mountain of the Lord, it will provide. The angel of the Lord said to Abraham from heaven a second time, and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I surely will bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand of the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of your enemies, and there, through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed.
So what? Like, had he not done it, the previous promise that was made to him would have become null and void. I mean, it's like the unconditional covenant of Genesis 15 would have gone by the wayside. I mean, it's just...
That's correct. Like, we would not be here. We would not be fortunate enough to be drinking good beer and talking about the Bible had Abraham chosen not to sacrifice his son. But good on you, Abraham. You did the right thing, I guess. Child sacrifice. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together for Beersheba. And Abraham stayed in Beersheba. I guess the last one on the page. Nahor's sons, Nahor's sons. Sometime later, Abraham was told, Malachiah is also a mother. She had been born sons to your brother Nahor. Uz the firstborn, but the brother Kamul, the father of Aram. Goddamn, a bunch of names. Bethel became the father of Rapiah. Oh, this is just names. I'm going to stop there. So, a lot of descendants there. I think we're good. I think we've been going about an hour and a half, and I do got to get some rest tonight. This was fun.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be Sodom and Gomorrah night and Abraham killing his only son night, or attempting to. That was a nice surprise and exciting to talk to. I don't even know what goes on in the next chapter. Probably we're getting closer to Leviticus, I think. Our Exodus should be next here soon.
Yeah, we got a little bit more. We got the whole...
Man, we got a long Genesis to go through, huh?
Yeah, it's 50 chapters. So.
Is it fucking fit? Good Lord, we're not even halfway through Genesis yet?
That's all right. We'll make up for it. It's going to start going quick when we get to Joseph.
Bueno. All right. I think that's it for tonight, folks. I just hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know what's coming up next. Hopefully more content that I can make. Other than that, thank you everybody for watching. There's links in the description for my Facebook and Digital Hammurabi, Dr. Josh's channel. Hey, there's even a Patreon if you want to donate money to me. That's always awesome. And if not, just keep watching, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Until next time, thank you all. Subscribe and make the world a better place.